So, the last time that Sienna Mae got canceled for this exact thing, which was essaying Jack Wright, she came out with an apology video in which she said she grew as a person and then did a dance to a Sam Smith song. After Jack Wright's infamous video in which Jack Wright said, "Hey, this happened, this is what happened," basically putting forth some pretty condemning evidence that Sienna Mae did some very bad things to him, to put it lightly. She came out with, what do you think this time? A blog post. Sienna Mae Gomez, Reflections from an 18-year-old Me. You know, it's funny, this feels like, one of those, like, Tumblr posts a 13-year-old would make, in which they talk about who was hotter out of the NSYNC, but this is not that. So I'm gonna read the blog apology. I don't know if I've ever read a blog apology before, but you know what? There's a first for everything. So I guess we will get into the blog apology from Sienna Mae. This is the only statement we've heard out of her. The only thing she's done on social media other than this is turn off her comments on TikTok. So we'll take a look at it. So Sienna Mae Gomez, Reflections from an 18-year-old Me. I haven't even been 18 a whole week yet, but the decisions I've had to make as a new adult are challenging me in ways that made me wish I could just go back to being a kid. Ah yes, going back to being a kid. You mean going back to the time in which you were breaking and entering people's homes and groping people? Yes, back then, but you were just a kid. I already can see where this blog is going. If you're here, you probably know about my situation. I'm going to assume that you already know that for the last almost 8 months, I've been fighting a very public battle that involves topics I didn't know much about until recently. Trigger warning. For 8 long, grueling months, I've been fighting to save friendships, to save business relationships. Oh, I feel so bad that you're trying to save business relationships, to save my own mental health. Oh, there it is. There's the mental health card we've all been waiting for. Up until this week, I was so proud of the progress I'd made, like being on my phone less and learning to surf and cook with friends and value things that really matter. So we're a paragraph in to this apology, and so far we've gotten a whole lot of nothing. But, hey, maybe she'll actually address the situation and not just say, well, my mental health is important. 4 days after turning 18, my former friend, Jack Wright, the one I've been tangled with in a toxic web of accusations and internet tea, posted a 17-minute video about me. Yesterday, 5 days past turning 18, might have been strategic so he could send you to big girl jail, Sienna. I had to say okay to a media statement written by my publicist in response to that video. Shortly after that, my legal team sent his legal team a letter threatening a lawsuit for defaming my character because that is the best next step to clear your name. I'm sure it's all hitting the media now. I've never been so scared in my life. Oh my gosh, guys. She's never been so scared in her life. I feel so bad for her, dude. I feel awful. She's never been so scared in her life. I wonder how the dudes felt, probably like the men you've entangled with in the past. They probably were scared to go to sleep around you. I thought turning 18 would be amazing, and so far, it honestly just sucks. I have 3 choices that I can see. 1, go read a millionth I hope you kill message in my DMs. I don't hope you do that, Sienna. I just hope you go to jail. Let my well-meaning parents and team dictate next steps and tie us up for what could be years in a legal battle with people who I once considered my closest friends. Or 3, write down everything from my heart and use my newfound adult status to take accountability and share the whole truth with anyone who will listen. I am interested to see what accountability looks like out of Sienna Mae. To be honest, it's hard not to choose number 1 and to actually follow it through. I told my parents last night that I just want to die. Oh, we've heard this before. I'm so tired of fighting. I'm so tired of seeing my hate and people taking sides. My heart hurts for my friends, my family, and people I associate with who are getting bullied on their own social media accounts just because they know me. So I'm going to choose number 3 for the sake of the people I love. I'm just going to get real and bare my soul and have faith and trust that I will land where I'm meant to be. Oh gosh, here we go, guys. She's taking us on a journey, on a story. I can't wait to hear. All right, chapter 1. The beginning of Jack and Sienna. When I was just 16 years old, I wonder if you'd touched any men by that point inappropriately without their consent. One of my TikTok videos went viral on social media. Then another. Oh my gosh, this is great. This is riveting stuff. I asked my hometown friend James Wright to do my first big interview with me in Los Angeles. He was out of town, so he asked his twin brother Jack to go with me. I was friends with Jack, but knew James better. Both of them had blown up on TikTok a few months earlier than me. From that day on, my life would never be the same. My gosh. Jack introduced me to people in LA, to new friends that I had been watching online for months, to a new fast-paced lifestyle that was so different than the one we lived in our small town. We instantly connected. He was my person. We got each other safely home after parties. We had each other's backs. People noticed a spark between us, and our videos together went viral. Suddenly, we were America's favorite teenage ship. And it all happened so fast that neither of us really knew what it meant. We were thrown into a crazy, exciting relationship because the public demanded it. I'm falling asleep. We couldn't make enough content together. If we just went a few days without the other in our videos, the press would run stories like, did Jack and Sienna break up? That was a low point in the TikTok T world, in which they were like, oh my gosh, Jack and Sienna haven't posted in 5 months. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay. And people would comment things like, if they don't get married, I don't believe in love. Major companies were reaching out with brand deals for us, and Jack even switched agents to make it easier for work opportunities. Somewhere along the way, in a very confusing state of knowing what was fake and what was love, I started to fall in love with him. That's awesome, Sienna. You also started to break into his house. In December 2020, after 4 incredible months of TikTok fame. Oh my gosh, dude. Is she really talking about TikTok fame? More fun than I ever had in what seemed like a perfect life, I got a call from the producers of the Hype House show asking me to be one of the featured influencers headlining the series. They also told me they didn't plan to have Jack in a lead role. To me, that felt wrong. Okay, here we go. She's gonna be like, I was actually trying to get Jack on the Hype House and to have him be a Netflix star. I am already calling him. He was the one that introduced me to all these people. And I wasn't even an official member of the Hype House. Thomas Petcher asked me to join, but my parents said no. So I decided to be on the show, but only if Jack was a lead role too. Oh my gosh, yes, Queen. Yes, Queen Sienna. We know how you always stick up for Jack. Yes. Yes. They agreed. From February through April 2021, we filmed the show. They filmed us both in our hometown. They filmed scenes with our family and friends at my house. They even filmed this in Hawaii! My gosh. While a lot of it was fun, what wasn't fun is that producers and other Hype House members keep pressing us to define who we are. 2 17-year-olds being pressured again and again to answer questions like, are you more than friends? What do you love most about him and her? Now, I will agree. I expect nothing less than a Netflix to people who, did the show Cuties. But that is pretty creepy. They aren't even adults yet, Netflix. What the frick is up with that? It was so confusing and emotional as we both started to realize that uncovering the truth behind our relationship, which we agreed not to put a label on, was a major storyline on the show. The more they pressed me on camera, the more emotional I got because I wasn't sure if we were friends anymore. She got emotional, guys. That's why she did things to men in their sleep. Okay. We would agree to be just friends, but then he would gift me expensive or even matching jewelry or plan elaborate outings. We would talk in a quiet place and say we were just friends, but then the next day be making out with each other for the cameras. I didn't know what was being set up by producers and if it was real or fake. I told him I loved him, and he said he loved me too. I would ask if he wanted to be more than friends, and he would say, not yet. Rejection isn't comfortable, but it's honest. The show had to go on, so I just kind of went with it. Hawaii and the video, chapter 2. Oof, guys, I feel like I'm reading freaking a boring version of Harry Potter. In May, we took another trip to Hawaii. Though Hype House filming had wrapped. At this point, the internet was going crazy for our content, especially since we hadn't posted a lot during filming because I had to be excused for the show. We both felt pressure. I wasn't originally supposed to be on this trip, but to be clear, he said I could come a few days before going. Looking back now, I see that it was to make content. Something on this trip was different. Everywhere we went, he introduced me as his girl, but then would take pictures and blatantly flirt with other people. Oh, Jack, how dare you take pictures and flirt with other people with your... Oh, yeah, that's right, you aren't dating. I was jealous, but more than that, I was confused. Why was I here? Why was he introducing me as his counterpart? I don't think introducing someone as girl is introducing as a counterpart. I'm pretty sure introducing you as a girl, like, girls say, hey girl, all the time. That doesn't mean, hey, significant other. You know what I'm saying? I was jealous, but more than that, I was confused. Why was I here? Why was he introducing me as his counterpart, telling me to wait patiently to be together if he didn't really want any of it? And then, without producers and cameras around for me for the first time in months, it really hit me. He liked me when he needed me for a video or for work, but he didn't like me otherwise. I asked him to make a video with me explaining to our fans that we were really just friends. I told him that if he didn't have real feelings for me, I wanted to set the record straight publicly about our relationship, as explained and shown in my response video from last year. He told me that we had brand partnerships writing on our fake one, and that it wasn't fair to him. I couldn't believe that someone who I created with, laughed with, and cried with could so easily disregard my feelings for the sake of money. He apologized, and I appreciated that, but I needed time away from him in our public persona to think and heal. Yes, Sienna. Yes, Queen. So, I went home and took time away from his family. I received multiple texts from James, Jack's twin, asking why I wasn't responding to them. 2 weeks later, they started posting Instagram stories targeted at me. 1 day later, their friend Mason put up a tweet implying that I physically and mentally abused Jack. A few days later, oh, okay. So, we have some things left out of the story here, you know, but hey, it's okay. A few days later, after that, their friend Lachlan released a video taken from a November 2020 party showing Jack and me kissing. It showed you kissing. Jack was not kissing back, actually, just to clarify. He narrated the whole thing to make it look like it was something it wasn't. To be clear, James took the video as a joke on a Snapchat 7 months earlier, and they decided to resurface it. I would like to think that neither Mason nor James realized the impact of their tweets were taken out of context of the video I have. Though they took it down, it didn't matter. The damage had been done. My character became a topic of public opinion. I lost friends. I lost brand deals. My reputation was damaged. See, this isn't what happened, though. Because people said he was asleep. And James, Jack's brother, said that that was not okay, that he was asleep. So, oh my gosh, dude. My character became a public opinion. I lost friends, I lost brand deals, my reputation was damaged. I went on to be one of the most loved girls on the internet to one of the most hated. It's good that I never really liked you news. I went quiet, I lost my will to live, and had to be saved. I spent months healing and getting better. My team asked Hype House producers to remove me from the show. I did not have to relive the online bullying in the light of the crazy Team Jack, Team Sienna's sentiment online. They knew people would pick apart every interaction between us. Netflix also did not want to be liable for my mental health. That's why I wasn't in the show. That's why producers had to figure out what to fill with months of Jack and Sienna footage. I'm sure the Hype House members are mad at me. I would probably be mad at me too. I'm sorry, especially to the cast and crew who worked so hard on the show. Well, it was a crap show anyways. I watched it and I fell asleep. I've had 3 relationships in my life. My first boyfriend was sweet to me, and although I was just turning 14 when I started dating him, he was supportive, caring, and communicated his feelings, like how he preferred my time over public affection. In his YouTube video, Jack brought this relationship up, even though it happened 4 years ago. Did I kiss another guy? Yes, I did. A day after we broke up. Oh, no! Terrible. And I'm still friends with both he and my ex. So the guy you kissed, you're still friends with him, and the guy and your ex, and the guy you kissed, okay. It happened when we were 14, 15 years old, and we got over it because that's what people do. My next boyfriend is one of the funniest and big-hearted people I know. I hung out with him and his family just a few weeks ago, and the reason we broke up after almost a year together was because he didn't like me being on social media. We decided to just be friends exactly 1 week after my first video went viral. This whole thing with Jack is breaking his heart because he knows the real me, not just some version of me. It's ironic that now it's fear of social media and online fame and what might do to me is the reason we broke up. And then came Jack. I was really grateful to know someone already in the social media world, and we had so much fun together. But as someone I loved and still love, I'm devastated that he made me sound crazy and twisted so many things out of context in his most recent video, to the point of literally painting me in the loud, crazy... What? Overly... That's people try to use on young, especially Latino women. There it is! The race card has been used, everybody! There we go. I have been reading for 7 minutes, and she hadn't mentioned that she was a person of color, so I knew it was coming. So there it is. A Latina woman! I'm glad we know that now. Thank you, Sienna. I was not aware of your Hispanic descent. It sucks, and I'm still unpacking that. But all I can know are my words, and I want to clear a few things up. I never broke into Jack's house. Did I know the code to his garage door? Yes, because he gave it to me. One of the first scenes we filmed for the Hype House show was me walking into the house and jokingly saying, "I'm home," because it's what everybody does at the right house. It's the hangout house. When Jack and James lived there, they were already friends there, even sometimes at 2 a.m. Right, thank you. Jack said he used to see my car at 2 a.m. in front of his house, but failed to mention that most times it would be other friends there too. I never stalked him. I never sat outside his house in the middle of the night. Over the past week, some of our mutual hometown friends have reached out. Like me, they aren't sure how to process what some of Jack is saying, and are just as confused as I am. All Jack and I ever did was kiss. I have never seen, felt, or touched him. Naked. We spent several nights at the Hype House together, but I never grabbed him, asleep or awake. Yet somehow I'm being called out across the internet by those who don't understand the meaning of the word. What do you mean, don't understand the meaning of the word? Are you saying, Sienna, are you saying that calling you a blank because you grope a man in sleep is not accurate? I don't know, bro. There's a counterpoint for every point Jack made in his video, but I'm not going to do that. Hold on, I gotta read that again. There is a counterpoint for every point Jack made in his video, but I'm not going to do that. Convenient. Did I do some things wrong and sloppy as a 16, 17-year-old who felt love for a guy? Yes, for sure. I admit stepping out of a car, stopped at a stop sign last New Year's Eve after we publicly fought. There was alcohol involved, and I'm definitely not proud of my behavior. After we kissed at midnight, he went and flirted with other people. It lasted till I saw it. I got jealous. I was stupid, and I'm so ashamed. But he said he did some stupid stuff too, like chasing after a car full of guys trying to start a fight with them because the cat called me on the street, or locking our mutual friend out of his rental house in Hawaii because he was flirting with me. I don't know. Chalk it up to being young and the fact that our brains aren't even fully developed. Teenagers do stupid things. I wish I knew what I know now. I wish we had laid the boundaries that made sense to us both, that protected both of us from feeling vulnerable or misled. I don't know a lot of other people who at 17 know how to do that with their partners, but I would have liked to try. I wish I knew that every time he did something nice for me, it didn't necessarily mean he wanted to be my real-life boyfriend and not just my internet boyfriend. I wish we knew together how toxic the relationship had become before it spun out the way it did. Looking back, there are definitely some things I'd do differently. The first set of YouTube videos. I'm glad, hopefully, you think dancing was bad. Shortly after the first allegation came out last June, I made 2 videos, both are still on my YouTube, which I wish I could take back. I'm not Brett Hour responding. I want to apologize. Who I offended with my ignorance was finding the fast allegations that were made hastily without my oversight, without anybody but my brother and me. I've since learned a lot about SA and the physiological trauma responses a victim of SA might develop as a result of abuse. I learned what Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonds are, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to learn so I can... Okay. Alright. When Jack and I fought, I tried to fix it with love and affection. Growing up, I was taught to be communicative and treat each other with love. For me, that means hugs and physical affection, which means yes, I would wrap my arms around Jack to hug him when I was feeling insecure, or when he was. I also tried to verbally express my feelings for him because that's what I like in relationships. We would joke about it all the time and even make TikToks about it because to both of us, at least at the time, it was funny. Looking back, I see that I should have met him at his love language versus mine, and I'm sorry for that because I think it meant we blurred boundaries that should have been stronger. My only intention was to love him and tell him that he mattered. It's a mistake I'll never make again. Okay. Consent isn't really something that's formally taught in school. My parents have been married for 23 years, and I grew up watching them freely express affection to each other. I understand how not everyone has this comfortability with affection. I understand now that when you're in a relationship, there needs to be a very open and honest conversation about consent even before that. Even if it's holding hands, hugging, and being affectionate in a friendly manner. The last thing I would ever want to do is to breach someone's boundaries, and for that I have become explicitly aware of the way I interact and will do better. Bruh. Consent's something you gotta know, girl. And even if they don't teach it in school, which they don't at my school, I don't know, bro. It's kind of common sense. But some people lack common sense. I apologize if there were times that I made you feel uncomfortable, Jack. I'm sorry if anything I ever did triggered other things you might experience or any feelings of discomfort. But anything I did unknowingly, as our physical relationship on camera was one of the closest in familiarity that I'd ever carried in our real lives. That said, there's a distinct line between that and SA. I'm so sad that this is where we ended up, and even more, now that it's being used in a new and even more hurtful way. Golly, Jack. You're doing this because she's Latina, isn't it? I'm just kidding. I'm growing. When I was growing up, I wished every day to become famous, probably like a lot of kids. It sounds so dumb, but I think I willed myself to where I am now. At first, it was amazing. Right now, not so much. I want to punch my screen, dude. This is so ridiculous. I wish I could take back the fame. Would taking back the fame also take back the things you've done to the men? I'm having obsessive thoughts about what it would be like to be back in my old high school, choreographing routines for my varsity dance team and waiting for my college acceptance letters. About not having to wear sunglasses and a hat in the Starbucks drive-thru line at night because I don't want to be a person having my drink to spit in it because he thinks I'm an abuser. Oh my gosh, dude. Believe it or not, Sienna, not everyone in the world is obsessed with you. About not worrying that I'm saying the wrong thing or making a wrong move. If I was a normal girl at a normal school, I would be worried about high school drama rather than trying to wrap my head around how my decisions in response to these serious allegations will have life-changing repercussions on me, my family, and people I still care about despite putting whatever hurts me hard. Honestly, I just wish I had a little more time to be normal. I want this madness to end. I want people to think before they comment unnecessary, hateful things on my socials and on my friends' socials and on Jack's socials. I'm tired of seeing people that I don't know, from my hometown or otherwise, jump on the hate train and make up lies. I'm confused that people say arrest her, when there has been no involvement by police, no investigations, and no legal action other than mine since this all began. I'm tired of living in space of sadness because I don't know how exactly one of my best friends turned into someone I'll forever be negatively linked with. For many of this is TikTok drama and tea, but for me, this is my life. Just because nobody's taking legal action don't mean it didn't happen, Sienna. And personally, I wish legal action would be taken because then this could all be over because this is a massive dumpster fire. And part of me just wishes it was kept off of social media and you could just go to jail. But I just don't think it's going to happen because this doesn't happen, you know? To my community of supporters, I appreciate your kind words in the midst of what has been a very dark time for me. Thank you for showing me love despite my flaws and mistakes. I recently saw this quote, "To make mistakes or to be wrong is human." That is right. To make mistakes is human. To grope a dude in his sleep is not human. To admit those mistakes shows you have the ability to learn and are growing wiser. As I enter the second week of my 18th year, I'll let that be my guide. After 8 months of feeling muzzled and controlled by lawyers, agents, publicists, parrots, it feels good to speak my truth. Right, at least you didn't say the truth. And share more than I probably should. I'm sure I'll experience backlash, but as a just turned 18-year-old, it's all mine to bear now. And that was the Sienna Mae apology, aka a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, dude, at the end of the day, really wish all this would be over. Really wish Sienna would just get off the internet. And, really wish, you know, if she actually did these things, that, the dudes and she should be brought to justice, you know what I'm saying? You know, the whole thing was basically her victimizing herself as a Latina woman of color And not that I give a frick. And then, you know, I don't know. It was a whole lot of nothing. And you know, I don't know what else to say other than that. All I gotta say is I like what I've seen out of social media, supporting Jack and not giving into her BS. So I hope that continues to happen. But that apology video, that apology right there, not not good. Not good. She's trying to turn it around and make it seem like she's the victim when it's flipped, you know? But yeah, she'll probably respond to this video and say I'm only hating on a Latino woman of color. Anyways, it's whatever, you know. I don't